I removed one limiting belief and went from being stuck at 10K for 8 months to hitting my first 30K month. And in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what that belief is, how I removed it, and how you can do the same. Before I get into completely changing your mindset forever, I want you to think about this. Months you're working the absolute hardest are often the months that you're not really getting anywhere and you're feeling stuck. You're chasing people, you're grinding, you're doing loads of outreach, but nobody's actually closing. Whereas the next week, you're more relaxed, you're more chilled out, you close 5 people without even trying. When you are operating from a place of needing sales, needing clients, needing to earn more money, that repels. Think of it even like in relationship terms. If you're dating someone and they're really needy and they're constantly messaging you, putting loads of pressure on you, that is going to make you run 1,000 miles. And it's the exact same principles with business. If you're operating from a place of lack and neediness and putting pressure on people, that is going to make people run 1,000 miles. When you're operating from a place of neediness, you're never going to get what you want. So if you're someone who feels like you're stuck at the same income level month after month after month, but you feel like you're doing everything right, it's likely because you're putting your income goal on this humongous pedestal. And that's the problem I faced for 8 months in a row. I was literally stuck at 10K a month. I could not break through and I couldn't figure out why I wasn't breaking through. But it was because this 30K month I wanted to achieve, I had on this pedestal like it was so far out of reach and like it would change my entire life. I was grinding so hard, working so hard, but nothing was helping me move forward and progress. I'm sure a lot of you watching right now are probably coming up against the exact same limiting belief. If I just work harder, I will make more. If I need it bad enough and I work hard enough, I will get what I want. But the fact is, neediness and desperation actually repel what you want. And once I broke this exact limiting belief right here and learned these 3 lessons that I'm going to explain to you in this video, my entire business exploded. I reached my first 30K a month and I had clients coming to me continuously. I didn't have to do cold outreach. I didn't have to put pressure on people. I was like, I know my worth. I know I'm going to be successful. Either you can come work with me and I'll get your results, or else don't work with me. And if you want to operate the same way and have clients lining up to work with you, then you need to listen to what I'm about to tell you. Lesson number 1 was cracking the cheat code to the universe. So there are 3 planes of reality. There's the physical, the mental, and the energetic plane. Physical down here at the bottom is what you do, so the actions you take and what you have physically. Mental is how you think and how you perceive reality. And energetic is how you feel and how you embody. And see, most business owners are operating purely from just down here in the physical plane. Doing tasks every single day, working long hours, working really hard. Down here on the physical plane is actually the least leveraged. Everything you have right now, how much money you're making, how many clients you have, the type of business you run, that all existed in your mental and energetic plane first of all before it became into your physical reality. How much money you're making right now is a delayed reflection of who you were being 3 to 12 months ago. So if you are just trying to grind and push your way to the next level, you're going to stay stuck for a very long time. Doing this exercise changed everything. This is called crafting your competition. So there's you here right now who's making the amount of money you're making and running the kind of business you're running. Then there's your ideal self who's making 15, 20, 30K months, running a business that probably gives them more freedom and is actually living your dream life. And this is honestly the cheat code. Instead of setting goals for yourself, set identities for yourself. If you just focus on becoming that type of person who makes that amount of money, who runs that kind of business, if you focus on what habits they have, what qualities they have, what they do on a day-to-day basis, and that's what you strive to do, the gap will close so fast between where you are and where you want to get to. Every single decision you're faced with on a day-to-day basis, literally just ask yourself, what would the version of me who was already making 20K a month, what would they do right now? Recently, I was faced with this as well. So I had a lot of fear around hosting a mastermind in Bali, and I asked myself, okay, Emma, you say you want to make 50K a month. What would the version of you who's making 50K a month do in a situation? Would they be scared and would they not do it? Or would they push through that fear and actually host that mastermind? And they would push through that fear and host that mastermind. So that's exactly what I done. So if you can make every single decision on a day-to-day basis in alignment with your ideal self, you will get to where you want to be so much faster than just focusing on the goal. Would the version of you who's making 20 or 30K a month edit all their own videos, or would they outsource an editor for a couple of €100? Would they manually be handling all their appointments and their DMs, or would they hire a setter for themselves? Would they be investing in a business coach to help them get to where they want to go, or would they be trying to do it all and figure it out all by themselves? If you say you want to be this person here, but you keep making decisions in alignment with who you currently are, you're never going to get to where you want to go, and that gap is never going to close. See, most people are taught to follow this sequence. They think of a goal and then they work really, really hard and then they feel good when they achieve the goal. But it's quite slow and quite inconsistent because it relies solely on willpower. Whereas high performers and the top 1%, they use a different way. Mental first, they set a clear intention and a clear goal. Then energetic, they convince themselves to feel like they already have accomplished the goal on a day-to-day basis and they're not waiting for the goal to make them feel a certain way. And then physical, the action just becomes natural. You don't have to force anything, you're in flow and you'll get to where you want to go so much faster. So really a summary of this is just with every single goal goal, if you're waiting to achieve that to make you feel a certain way, you're going to be a long time getting to the goal. But if you can take that feeling that you want to have by achieving the goal, let's say making 10k a month will make you feel more happy, more fulfilled, more successful. If you can convince yourself and embody that feeling right now, then taking the action required to hit that goal becomes so much more in flow, so much easier, and you're going to get there so much faster. Stop waiting for goals to make you feel a certain way. Start feeling that way now, and you'll get towards your goal so much faster. The second lesson is you must have unshakable self-belief. Another reason people get really stuck is because they say they believe that they can achieve any goal, but underneath they don't really believe in themselves. And most of the time it boils back to the fact that they don't trust themselves. Every single time you say you're going to wake up at a certain time and then snooze your alarm, you say you're going to go to the gym and then you don't go, you say you're going to post a piece of content but then you say, I'll be grand, I'll do it tomorrow, you are teaching your subconscious mind, we don't actually do what we say we're going to do. This is called an integrity gap. The space between what you say you're going to do and then what you actually do. But see, your subconscious mind is always watching you and it's keeping score. So when you're trying to tell yourself, I'm someone who makes 20k a month, your subconscious mind is going to be like, shh, this girl can't even get out of bed on time. What do you mean we're a 20k a month business owner? So it rejects the idea, it doesn't believe you, and it doesn't allow you to feel and embody the qualities of someone who's successful. Think about people you look up to. They're probably truly disciplined. They go to the gym, they meditate, they work out, and they keep their word. And then when they set a business goal, there's no inner war. Their subconscious mind says, yep, we said we're going to do it, so we're going to make it happen. And when you have alignment between what your subconscious mind is saying and what your conscious mind is saying, taking action to hit a goal becomes so much easier. You cannot build a 6 or 7 figure business on a foundation of broken self-promises. When I started treating every single thing I promised myself as a meeting with a very important CEO. If I tell myself I am up at 6, I am out of that bed at 6 a.m. If I tell myself I'm going to the gym today, I will make sure I go to the gym. And every single day, absolute non-negotiable, I will make time for meditation. And a lot of the times it's not actually the action itself that's important, it's just keeping that promise that I made to myself, and that compounds and that stacks, and that leads me to feeling so confident on a day-to-day basis, which ripples into my business, which ripples into my sales calls, which ripples into my content and everything in my life. Every single time you keep a promise to yourself, your subconscious mind is saying, oh, we do what we say we're going to do. And after months of stacking that evidence, you honestly will feel like you can just achieve absolutely anything. When you set a business goal, you know it's inevitable you're going to hit it because you always do what you say you're going to do. Without having this as a foundation and continuously always making sure you keep the promises you make to yourself, you will never make a lot of money and you will never scale a sustainable business. So that's lesson number 2. Lesson number 3 is to stop doing busy work. Most of the time people get stuck at a certain income level, not because they're not working hard enough, but because they're working on the wrong things. They're wasting and they're spending all this time on things that are not actually moving the needle forward and not actually helping you grow. Working 8, 9, 10 hours a day on things that aren't actually moving the needle. Every client I've worked with that has scaled past 10k a month, I've helped them do one thing. And that is ruthlessly eliminate low leverage tasks. The most productive thing you can possibly do is identify the 20% of the things that you're doing that are actually helping you to grow your business and eliminate or delegate all this other shitty low leverage shit. Here's the biggest difference. Someone who makes around 5k a month, they are probably handling all their sales calls themselves, editing all their content themselves, working 8 to 10 hour days, in their DMs themselves. They feel really good about themselves and they're getting this dopamine from being productive, but they feel so disappointed at the end of each month when their income stays the exact same. Whereas when you're making around 20k a month, you actually work less. You're probably working around 4 to 6 hours on the most important lever moving tasks in your business. You're focusing on strategy and on content that's bringing in clients. You're spending time learning to manage people and manage a team as opposed to waste your time on low income producing tasks. Sometimes it even feels like you're not doing enough on a day-to-day basis. You're like, I'm actually not even working that much. But every single month your revenue is going up and up and up because you're working smart instead of working hard. The 5k a month operator is addicted to dopamine from being busy, whereas someone who's making 20k plus is addicted to results and progressing in their business. Also, this right here is one of the most underrated things that you need to take into consideration when you're growing your business. Your internal state. You can have the best strategy in the entire world, but if you are operating and trying to grow your business from a state of stress and a state of fight or flight, you'll always make short-term fear-based decisions. Your brain runs on 4 different frequencies. The first one is beta. This is like when you're awake, you're in this 90% 90% of the day. You're alert, you're active, you're just going about your day to day. Second one is alpha. This is when you're really relaxed, probably creative and also present. Third is theta. This is like in deep meditation right before you go to sleep. And this is where your subconscious mind is accessible. And the last one is delta, which is basically deep sleep. You can only reprogram your subconscious when your brainwave is in slower states like alpha and theta. If you're someone who's always scrolling on your phone, going about your day, really, really busy, spending no time actually with your thoughts, you're operating in high beta waves 24/7. And this is why affirmations don't work for a lot of people. They're trying to reprogram their subconscious mind when the door is locked. They're way up here, busy, high beta waves. They need to come down here to actually get access to their subconscious mind. So how do you actually access these states to reprogram your subconscious mind? Meditation, breath work, long walks in nature, actually just spending time journaling with your thoughts and thinking. Honestly, any activity that just slows you right down and gives you time to think. My practice every single day, absolute non-negotiable for me, is 10 minutes of meditation in the morning, 10 minutes of meditation at night, and 10 minutes of journaling my thoughts in the morning as well. Just so I can brain dump everything that's in my head down onto paper, and it's not just cycling and spinning around in my head all day. And the reason I put so much emphasis and focus on meditation is because when you're in a meditative state and you're visualizing what you want, your brain actually doesn't know the difference between that and actually something happening in your reality. Have you ever thought of something really embarrassing or really cringy that you did in the past, and your body almost reacts as if it's happening right now in this present moment? Like you might get a pit in your stomach or like a wave of heat going over you. That's because your brain literally cannot tell the difference between a real and imagined state. So if you're meditating and you're visualizing what you want and you're embodying and actually feeling all the feelings as if that goal is already achieved, you're convincing your subconscious mind and convincing your body that the event has already happened. Over time, taking the action required to actually get that thing, it just feels completely normal to you. You feel in flow, it feels easy, it doesn't feel forceful, and you will get that thing you want so much faster rather than just being constantly up here scrolling, busy, going about your day in a rush. That is going to take you so much longer to achieve your goals. And honestly, one of the most productive things you can do as a business owner is just actually time block in some thinking time. Literally just sit down with a piece of paper, a notebook, and your thoughts. Often a lot of business owners will say, oh, I'm too busy to do that, I can't be at that, I have a really busy day. You're doing unproductive busy work. You're going out, you're grinding, you're grafting 10 hours. But if you actually just took that 20 minutes in the morning to sit down and write your top priorities, to actually just have a little think about what you're doing, there's probably a lot of that work that's actually not even moving the needle and not even going to get you closer towards your goals. So sometimes it's the most productive thing you can possibly do. Just sit down and actually do a little bit of thinking. So the main limiting belief I cracked is that you do not need to work harder in order to make more money and in order to achieve your goals. And hopefully you can see that from all these lessons that I taught you in this video. If you want to book a free strategy call with me or my team, click the link in the description below and I'll jump on a strategy call with you, map out your entire roadmap in order to sign 5 to 10 new clients in the next 30 days. Be back next week with another banger. Please subscribe, like, and do all that jazz. See you later.